What is up, YouTube? It has been a while since we've done one of these. Greetings, YouTube. It's Marty McFly, bringing you guys the merch. So, it's been a journey. It's been a year. I think the last time we did one of these had to be in May, when the new Metallica record came out. Went to Kingfish Records. I think I did a whole video series about that. So, yeah, new Metallica comes out. Kingfish Records did a huge event for it. You know, caution tape with the Metallica album on it. It had, you know, you got guitar picks, posters. I unfortunately didn't get a poster this time, but there was only a handful of copies in the store, and I got one of them because I was one of the first people in line. That was right before I went to night shift, actually, so I had to wake up a little bit earlier. I was a little groggy and angry, but I got the record. So that's the last time we've done one of these. So it's been a while. A lot has happened since then. I graduated internal medicine residency. That part of my life is officially over. It's been a heck of a journey. I can't believe we've made it this far. It still blows my mind that, you know, residency is over. 3 of very challenging years of my life next to the 4 years of medical school. There was no secret, though. I mean, it's one of the most polarizing experiences that I've ever been through. Everyone goes through their own struggles, their own difficulties. Everyone has their own problems in residency. You're not alone. You might struggle with this, but then the guy next to you might struggle with that. You know, you might be struggling with learning a particular topic or management style with the 98,000 attendings you work with, because each one of them has their own management styles. It's not that they're wrong. Everyone practices medicine either similarly or differently. Depends on your method of training. But if they all go to the same goal of saving a patient's life, then it's Gucci. There is a degree of correctedness as far as, like, this is the most common way to approach this with the same goal of being able to, you know, fix a problem. Whether you're fixing VTAC, AFib, colitis, you know, a UC flare, you know, leukostasis, anything, you know, upper GI bleed, lower GI bleed. Regardless, there's so many ways to treat different things. But so you're learning so much in residency. Everyone's going to struggle with their own things. I struggle with my own things. My classmates struggle with their own things. It's just hard to believe that that part of the journey is over. Like I said, 3 arguably the most challenging years of my life. Medical school was its own brutal challenge, and I don't want to go through that ever again either. But residency, no joke, started June 2020. Peak COVID. Shit was on fire, man. It was, you know, my first shift as a physician was ICU, peak COVID. We had our own COVID pods. We had our own little wing where you go in and it looks like a decontamination zone for a zombie apocalypse movie. Definitely added to the fatigue and the challengingness of that already is residency, because you're working 1,000 hours a week and you're not sleeping right. You're still adjusting to all the different attendings. You're still trying to learn. You're still a physician. You've already graduated medical school. You're a doctor now, and now you're learning how to perfect your specialty. So 3 years of that, but you know, I mean, COVID peaks up and down. We did have some good times and downtime, some bad times. Parts of residency were rough for everybody because people go through losses. They lose their friends, family members. Some get divorced, some have breakups. It's a rough 3 years, and it's hard to explain to another human being what that feels like when you are bonded and bound to a hospital for the same goal of making sure you're a competent physician when you graduate and how to save people's lives. And then you try to be a normal person on the outside of it, whether it's a relationship with your girlfriend, boyfriend, family, friends. If you're very lucky, some people will be very understanding and they'll help you get there, and they'll do anything to make sure that you're okay. Some others, you know, they're fly-by-night. They're ready to say goodbye. They're ready to dip as soon as it gets too hard for them, because maybe they don't understand how hard of stuff you're going through, or maybe they want someone with a normal 9 to 5 that, you know, works out 7 days a week, has time to do all the right stuff, contribute to their family, contribute to their relationship, and they don't want a person who has to go to night shift sometimes. And it's the way it is. It's just part of the journey. So 3 years goes by, man. We're at the end of residency. I just took the American Board of Internal Medicine, arguably one of my hardest board exams. Part of it I felt very prepared for. I might have to do a video about this at some point, but I can only do so much before the ABIM freaks the fuck out and then, you know, does whatever they want to do to people. But I will admit, it's a challenging exam. It's tough. If you've already gotten to this point, Like me, I went to a DO school, so I took MD and DO boards. I took Step 1 and 2. I took Complex 1 and 2, and CK, which is an oral board exam. So you go see, I think it was sets and 4s and 3s, if I'm not mistaken, 12 to 15 patients. I flew up to Chicago, middle of February, great time to travel to Chicago when it's frozen outside. And you see a bunch of standardized patient exams. They have a general complaint. You go, you wash your hands the right way. You have to make sure you don't touch anything in the room, because if you touch anything, you have to go re-wash your hands before you can go touch the patient. So you go see your patient, you do your physical exam. If you go to a DO school, you got to do your OMT stuff. So you have to pick a joint or whatever, you know, soft tissue techniques. And there is a lot of efficacy to this type of treatment for, you know, whether it's lower back strain or even, you know, chronic illnesses, chronic inflammation, things like that. So you're going through that as well. You have to pick, I think I had to pick like 4 OMT patients on top of whatever their chief complaint was. Some of those patients, those standardized patients, I mean, good grief, man. There was like, it's either acute, chronic, or you're like, do I need to call the ICU like now? Anyway, so there's that. You do your SOAP note, so subjective, objective, assessment plan. When you're doing your plan, though, your plan has to be everything that you told the patient you were going to do. So the patient comes in with A, you said you're going to treat them with B. If you're like, oh man, I would have loved to have ordered an x-ray, that's what I'm going to do next. Well, you need to write down on your SOAP note that you're going to order an x-ray and tell the patient, because if you didn't tell the patient you're going to order an x-ray, they're going to either deduct points or flunk you or something. So, I mean, thankfully I passed. So you go through that. That's an all-day event. That was $1,500. I just took American Board of Internal Medicine. That was $1,500. I took Complex 3 my first year of residency, going into my second year of residency, I'm sorry. Thankfully, I was on elective rotation. You study, you know, as much as you can. You're working 80 hours a week, but then you switch to an elective, you have a little bit more time. You know, I did UWorld twice. I did Complex twice. I did the practice patient session thing that you have that's set up for Step 3. I did all of that. I bought the UWorld one, and I did the free one for Complex, and I passed. I came out with a really good score. Some people say I over-prepared. Sorry, I'm a terrible test taker. Sometimes I need to over-prepare. Anyway, past that. Then we get to American Board of Internal Medicine, 60 questions in 4 different segments. You get plenty of break time, which is a rarity. Anyone who's been through the board process, complex steps, all that stuff, USMLE, you know you don't have enough time for breaks, and by the time you get your break, you have time to take a piss and come back. So I've been through that. American Board of Internal Medicine was 60 times 4 sections. You have plenty of break time. Questions were... I felt prepared for some of it. This is another one where I did UWorld twice, plus I did my wrong answers. I did mix-out throughout residency. I did New England Journal of Medicine my senior year for the most part. There was questions I felt very prepared for. Like, it took me 2 seconds to answer the question, moving on. However, there's a bunch of questions I was like, well, I don't know if I'm a doctor. I'm a fraud. I didn't go to medical school. I didn't go to residency. These questions are what the F. A lot of, you know, my friends felt the same way, that there's just a lot of questions. Even though you studied your brains out, you just didn't feel prepared. They give you 5 answer choices, and none of the answer choices are anything you would do in real life, because you're like, I would either order all of these or I'd order none of these. So they want you to choose the least best wrong answer, or they want you to just read the mind of the test writer, which I think is really unfair to us. So that's over. So now we're done with residency, American Board of Internal Medicine. Then next job is the attending stuff. Looking forward to the next start of the journey. So that's where I've been. This is the newest shirt from Angry Chair Brewing. It's over in Tampa, Florida. Great brewery. Heavy, you know, a lot of emphasis on heavy metal stuff. They have a lot of Grim Reaper gear, which is really cool. Every year they do a long sleeve, like, black metal or death metal t-shirt. I have 2 of those. And then this is the newest short sleeve that they did. That's where I saw Cannibal Corpse. I met Paul Mazurkowitz from Cannibal. He was just hanging out having beer. He signed a bunch of my stuff. He actually signed this poster right here behind me. He signed the very first Cannibal Corpse record on vinyl. Signed that for me. That was really a cool guy. We talked to him for a couple hours. He was just an awesome guy to hang out with. Really glad I got a chance to meet him, especially for the pioneers, the giants of death metal. I'm still waiting to meet George, though. I'm trying to make that happen. I know George lives in the Tampa area, but it'd be cool to just shake his hand one day and just like, hey, man, love your music, you know. Same way with the rest of the band, man. I mean, I would love to meet any of the band members, even, you know, just to be able to shake their hand and be like, hey, I love your tunes. Your tunes meant a lot to me, got me through some stuff. It'd be really cool to, you know, even meet the guys from 6 Feet Under. I mean, come on. Just to meet Chris Barnes, just to shake his hand, maybe have him sign something. It'd be awesome to meet those guys. So, that's Angry Chair Brewing. That's where I've been. Right now we're dealing with a hurricane. We got Hurricane Idalia coming over. which is really funny because it's kind of close to the band Adalia that's originally from Sarasota, but that's spelled with an A, A-D-A-L-I-A-H. So I thought it was kind of cool. I felt like messaging the guys in Adalia, like, hey, you almost got a Hurricane almost named after you. Anyway, I know you guys want to hear about the merch. The Hurricane, we did pretty okay in Clearwater, but there's a lot of flooding in Clearwater Beach. Tarpon Springs got annihilated. Storm surge is terrible. All the bridges are shut down. We're doing okay. It's okay to be expected, but, you know, for everyone out there that got affected by the storm, I hope you guys are doing okay. You know, I hope you guys can find relief services, whatever you guys need. I'll keep my fingers crossed, and I'll keep praying for all you guys out here. So we made a little trip. I just got back from Savannah and St. Augustine. Good timing, because I got back right before I even knew the storm was coming, and really good timing. So I love Savannah, I love St. Augustine. They're 2 little homes away from home with me. Anytime I needed an escape, especially in residency, those were like the places where I love to go. So I went to Tiger Records. Shockingly didn't buy any vinyl. I'm still mad about that. I also went to Gray Face Records in Savannah. I'm mad at myself for not buying anything. I don't know. I was just in a mood. I think it was just because it was 100 degrees outside. I just wanted to yeah, I was exhausted at the end of the trip, and I just wanted to go home. So I went to Tiger Records, and they had some wicked stuff, as always, man. Their punk and hardcore section's unreal. This time, I really wanted to get something, and, you know, they had every Celtic Frost re-release, but they had Morbid Tales, and it had a bonus 7-inch, like the CD, a poster, and a booklet. It was only 30 bucks, and I didn't buy it, and I'm regretting that now. It's one of, you know, I was thinking about buyer's remorse, and now it's like, oh, yeah, no, forgetter's remorse. Yeah, sure. So I didn't get that, kind of bummed about it, but I did, however, have Heart, The Things We Carry. This was off of Bridge 9 Records, came out in 2006. Absolutely love this band. The vinyl is really hard to get. I mean, you can get some of them on eBay, some of the represses, but people are charging a fortune for these. Tiger Records has had several copies of this on their wall before, as far as the vinyl goes. Several of their other EPs and albums. I've seen them before, and they're sold out like that, man. They even had a copy of Law Dispute, and somewhere, you know, somewhere the Bridge of Adair. I always forget the full name of the album, but you know the one with the bird on it. My favorite Law Dispute album, and it's a bummer because that was sold out like this. And I saw this on CD, and I don't have it on CD. I still collect CDs. I still play them in the car, so it was really cool to be able to see a copy of this. I'll never forget one of the first times I heard Have Heart, and if you're into that era of hardcore, like Bane, Pennywise, this is like a nice mixture of this with like Morning Again. It's a little bit more melodic, with like melodic hardcore, if you want to call it. But I would say that era. So I mean, this is 06, so you got bands like Morning Again, On Broken Wings. I mean, this is kind of that era, but this is a lot cleaner and a lot more melodic. Bane, Pennywise, things like that. I'll never forget being at a metal show at House of Blues eons ago, and it was one of the first times I had heard a song off of this album, and I was like, man, everyone's singing along, everyone knew the song. I was like, I know I've heard this before, but who is this? So they were playing The Machinist by Have Heart. This was around the time where you could actually turn your phone on, and it tells you, you know, you can do Google, or you can do, God, what's the app that everyone uses? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. The app that everyone uses that tells you what the song is. It's been a while since I've used it, because now Google does it for you. So, that was The Machinist. It's the second to last song on here. It's a fun song. Everyone knew the words. That was my introduction to Have Heart, so I'm really glad I picked up a copy of that. We're going to have a lot more of these to come, so I'm going to make this video just kind of like a brief rundown of everything that's going on. So, I graduate residency, and I had a couple things on the list of things I wanted to get for myself. Just because it's been a long 3 years. You know, in residency, you don't make much. You're a physician, but you're only making $50 before taxes. I think I got a raise every year, and then at the very end of residency, they decided to give everybody a raise because none of our residents could afford, like, gas. Rent in this area is stupid expensive. Even a shoebox that I live in costs a fortune, and rent was basically more than one paycheck at this point, so you're living on fumes. And they finally got us a little bump at the end, so at least they gave us something to pay for gas. I have a list of things that I wanted to get. One of them was Law Disputes, Somewhere Between, on vinyl. I was waiting till my boards were done to buy it, because I was like, you know what, I'm going to wait. When my boards are done, it's a really good gift to myself. Of course, Amazon had like a bunch of copies, and they sold out of every stinking copy on Amazon the day I took my boards, so that's fun. This is something I've been looking forward to for a while, especially after reading the Swedish the Swedish death metal book. This is written kind of similar as far as just the origins of metal, death metal, and this is Choosing Death. This is so far a great book, but it's the improbable history of death metal and grindcore. Forward by Scott Carlson and forward by John Peel, written by Albert Mudrian. So far, it's written so much like the Swedish death metal book as far as like the way I'd want someone to approach the history of a band. I mean, it does talk about how much they party and whatever. I mean, the Swedish death metal book, if you read that, you know, Swedes apparently just party and drink for like a 3-day bender, don't shower, live in the train tracks, and just get smashed and have a great time jamming the Cromags and whatever they want to listen to. Crust, punk, everything. So this is written kind of similar because it gives you like the origins of the band. So far, I've gotten where it's talking about the origins of Earache Records, and we're talking about, you know, pre-Carcass, the punk and crust bands that came before Earache, and, you know, everything so far. It's talking about the origins of grindcore. You know, big one here has been the Napalm Death era, the origin of those guys. So it's been a really fun read. I've been a lifelong metalhead. I started listening to metal when I was like 5. My brother, first thing popped in the car was like Savatage and Iced Earth, and I was like hooked, you know. Bought a copy of Savatage, Fight for the Rock when I was 10 on CD at Best Buy. I put it in the car and kept it in the bag, and I didn't think it was a big deal. They let me buy it, even though it had the parental advisory sticker, but I bought it. I was like 10 years old. It's only 10 bucks, and my mom saw the parental advisory sticker and had a shit fit because she thought the band was cussing and satanic. I'm like, it's Fight for the Rock, Mom. It's John and Chris Oliva. Like, they're harmless. They're not going to hurt anybody. They're really cool guys, and they're all based out of the Tampa metal scene. Well, my mom saw the parental advisory sticker, made me take it back to Best Buy, so not sure if my mom will ever read this. God, I mean, I love my parents to death, and she doesn't care now. My mom loves the fact that I love heavy metal, and it's a big haven for me. But I went into Best Buy, 10 years old, went into Best Buy, and pretended to take it to the cash register. I put it right back in my pocket, walked right back out the car, and said I got my 10 bucks back. Mom didn't ask any questions. So if my mom ever reads this, it'll be a fun story for her. And I don't know if I ever actually told her this one. But lifelong metalhead, so it's really cool to hear the origins of like Napalm Death and like Pig Destroyer, Cannibal Corpse, and all this stuff. So awesome for me. I'm still waiting to find a copy of La Dispute. Smart Punk Vinyl Records in Orlando. It's near the UCF area. They keep posting the same picture. They got a copy of La Dispute's vinyl on there, and I really want to pick it up one day, so hopefully they'll still have it. Anyway, a little bit of a long video, but I kind of wanted to give you guys a breakdown of what's been going on, man. New Job for a Cowboy song came out, first song in like 10 years. It's freaking incredible. Really jazzy, slap bass sounding. Absolutely certified banger. New record in 2024, which will be like the 10-year anniversary since their last record. So it's really good to be back. I got a bunch of videos planned for you guys. I got some already recorded, so we just got to hit the release button. So while I'm dealing with this hurricane and getting ready for my new job as an attending, I'm going to make more videos. Like I said, anyone during the hurricane, if you were affected by this, I really hope you guys are doing okay and getting relief where you need to get relief. I know our way of relief these days is heavy metal, so it's what's got me through a lot of stuff. So glad to be here on with you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, yell at me, say fun things on the comment section. Look forward to talking to you guys. Cheers.